Jai Shri Gurudev. Today we are going to discuss about the poem The School Boy. Okay. This is for the first PUC students in the English language subject. This poem is written by William Blake. William Blake. He was born on 27 November 1757. Okay, and he was born at 28 and died on 12 August 1827. For about 69 years he lived. Now we are going to understand that he belonged to the age of romantic age. Okay, he was called as a romantic poet, the poet of romantic age. Romantic age in the sense those who had written the literature which is having the connection with nature. Okay, they were all lovers of nature. That's why they were called as romantic poets. Okay, and this person, he was a poet, and he was a painter. He was a painter and engraver. Okay, under the guidance of Basil, he learned the art of engraving. Okay, so he was the person who taught him engraving. Under his guidance, under his teachings, he learned the art of engraving. He has written so many poems. This particular poem, The Schoolboy, is selected from his collection of poems, that is Songs of Experience. Songs of Experience and Songs of Innocence. So this is the work from which, this is the collection of poems from which the poem Schoolboy is selected. Okay. William Blake, in fact, did not believe in formal education. He was opposite to the idea of formal education. Formal education, we have to understand what is the meaning of formal education. It is a system of education in which the children are going to learn reading and writing and any knowledge, any sort of education they are going to receive from the teachers in the closed environment. Mainly this sort of education is theoretical oriented. Okay, it is opposite to the natural way of learning, theoretical education. Okay, so usually the child will be sent to the school. Okay, in the school, school means it is a closed environment. in the rooms, the children will be sitting and they will be learning to read and write. Read and write. They learn how to read and how to write. Okay. They are going to learn the letters. First, they are going to learn the letters. How to write letters means these are all the graphical expressions. Expressions of sounds. Okay. Any sound which is represented in the form of writing, in the form of graphical representation. Okay. So that is nothing but letter. Any language you take for that. For example, English, Kannada, any language for that matter, there will be letters for each and every sounds our organs can produce. Okay, so our sound organs like vocal cords, they can produce certain sounds, different sounds. All of the different sounds will be expressed in the form of letters. Okay, so now in the formal education system, they are going to learn letters, and then they are going to combine the letters into words, and the words will have meanings, and the meanings will be connected to different things in the life, in the nature, in the society, altogether. Okay, and we are going to learn about various things without experiencing anything. Okay, directly we don't experience anything in the formal education system. We just come to know, we just receive the knowledge, we just receive the information, but it will not be theory, practical oriented. We don't get experience, we can't imagine, we can't feel, we can't realize what is really all about. Okay, so such problems are common in the formal education system. Okay, so now William Blake is opposite to it. He doesn't want the formal education. That's why he attended this school only till he learned reading and writing. Only to a long enough to learn reading and writing, he attended the school to learn writing and reading. Writing and reading. Okay, only till a certain age he attended. After that, he quit the school and he went to learn engraving, and then he became a painter, and then for a period of time in his life, he was known as the poet. Okay, these are the things which are related to his views, his life, and we can also derive some thoughts which are necessary from the point of understanding the poem The Schoolboy. Okay. As I told you already, the schoolboy is related to the formal education system. What are the drawbacks in the formal education system are going to be expressed through this poem by the poet. Okay, how the formal education system is going to kill the learning faculty of a child at the age of innocence. The child is going to attend this school. In the school environment, there will be lots of restrictions. Okay, there will not be freedom for the child to play and learn the things. Restrictions will be there. constraints will be there. Lot of imposition of punishments, discipline, something like that will be there in the educational system, in the formal education system. That's why the child will lose interest in learning from the school. Okay, usually we know that mainly any school is going to start with teaching reading and writing. Every letter, how to read, how to pronounce, how to speak out, how to learn the process of reading and writing. That will be the main thing which will be concentrated in the way of teaching in the formal education system. So it is mainly focused on such things. It is going to kill the creativity, innovative way of things for the child to learn. The child is going to become dull in the environment of formal education system. That is mainly focused here in this particular poem. Okay, let me read the poem and later let us try to discuss the poem in detail to understand what is all about. Okay, I love to rise in a summer morn when the birds sing on every tree, the distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! But to go to school on a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Oh, then at times I drooping sit and spend many an anxious hour, nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? Oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer's fruits appear? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing year when the blasts of winter appear? Okay, so now we are going to understand from the point of the schoolboy, the child. The schoolboy is a child. It is at the age of innocence what it is going to experience, which is not going to be pleasing for it. It is not going to give any sort of enjoyment, joy, happiness, delight in its way of learning. That we are going to understand. Okay. So in the first stanza, what the poet as a first person speaker, he is going to speak on behalf of the child, we are going to understand. I love to rise in a summer morn. What he says? I love to rise in a summer morn. I love to rise in a summer morn. Okay, I means that is the schoolboy. As a schoolboy, the first person speaker, the poet is going to speak. Okay, I means here the schoolboy, the child. It is the child. Okay, morn means morning. Okay, this is the summer. In the summer season, the child wants to rise, loves to rise. Rise means getting up from the bed. Getting up from the bed. From sleeping, it is going to rise. It is going to get up in the summer morning. It loves that morning. It is pleasing. It is joyful. It is happiness for the child. Why? Because when the birds sing on every tree, when the birds sing on every tree, when the birds sing on every tree, there are so many birds. They are perching upon the tree. They are sitting upon the tree, and they are all singing. They are all singing. All the birds which are sitting on the tree, they are singing. They are making noise. That chirping noise is very, very melodious, pleasing. It sounds like a music. It is going to give anybody a sort of happiness, a sort of joy, a sort of entertainment, because it is melodious. That's why the child wants to rise. It loves to rise in the summer morning, because there are so many birds. They are singing their songs. They are playing. They are enjoying their life in the morning time. Okay. The distant huntsman winds his horn. Another thing is the distant huntsman winds his horn. Okay. Horn means it is a kind of musical instrument which is being used by the huntsman. He is a hunter. Okay. He is a hunter. He has gone to hunt in order to attract the animal. In order to attract his hunt, he is blowing his horn. That is a pipe. That is a musical instrument that is making the sound that is like music. It is very attractive. It is very pleasing for anyone to listen. That is also making the child enjoy it, because it is music. And the skylark sings with me. The skylark sings with me. Okay, with me means that is child once again. As a first person speaker, the child is speaking. In terms of the child speaking, the poet is speaking. Okay, indirectly the poet himself is speaking on behalf of the schoolboy, but here the schoolboy as a first person he speaks. Here the skylark is a bird. It is a bird. Usually we find this bird, it will be flying in the sky, being alone, and it will be singing, it will be making lots of noise. That will be heard as if once again the sound. The sound which is going to be made by the bird skylark, it is also like the sound. Okay, that he is going to enjoy. Oh, what a sweet company. Oh, what a sweet company. Oh, what a sweet company. The child is saying, all these things are a sweet company in the summer morning. That's why he loves to rise in the summer morning to enjoy the song, the music, the melody of all these things. That's why all these three things have become a sweet company for the child in the morning time. This is what the experience of the child naturally when it has to get up in the early morning, and at the same time when it is getting up, it is going to enjoy the melody in the surrounding nature where it is sleeping. Okay, so this is all about what is the child likes to have in its life. If we make the child to face a different kind of situation which is altogether opposite to its tendencies and it is not natural, what is going to happen? Okay, any learning should be natural. It should not be artificial. It should not be like imposing on it. It should not be like forcing the child to learn it. Now you see that these are all the things happen naturally every day. When the child is going to get up, at the time when it hears all these things, it is going to make the child to understand what are the things will happen, go on in the nature every day. What is the sound? Where is the sound coming from? It will listen and it will understand. It will learn. It will enjoy. It will try to recreate that. It will become again and again repeated in its mind, and it is going to remind how is going to be the music in the life and how it is going to make everyone to be happy to enjoy the music. That is what the child can learn naturally in the life. If it is opposite, if it is something like forceful, it is not going to be pleasing, attractive. It will be something like disinteresting. It is not going to make the child to be attentive towards it. That is what in the formal education system will happen for the child, that we are going to know. When the child loves to rise in the summer morning, because there will be a sweet company of the birds, huntsman's horn, skylarks singing, all these things, all of a sudden it will vanish. This enjoyment, what is going to happen for that child, it is going to be momentary. It will not be permanent for it, because in the next cue, subsequently, after enjoying it, it has to face some kind of forcefulness. That is either because of the society system in the society, or because of the teachers, parents who have their wish that is different from the wish of the child, that we are going to see in the next stanzas. But to go to school on a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. See that? But to go to school on a summer morn, it drives all joy away. When the child is enjoying all these things, all of a sudden, if the parents are asking the child to go to school, what is going to happen? Whatever the joy, entertainment, the happiness, the delight it received from the nature, that is gone. It is vanished. It is driven away by the imposition of the restrictions and discipline. That's why the child says, but to go to school, but to go to school on a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. See that? In the same summer morning, it enjoyed the sweet company of birds and huntsmen. Now, all of a sudden, when the child is asked to go to school, the joy is driven away, gone, it is vanished. Its mood is completely changed from happiness to sorrow. Okay, it becomes dull. As soon as the child is asked to go to school, it becomes dull because it doesn't want to go to school, because the school, the learning, the atmosphere, the environment in the school is something like monotonous. It is tedious. So that's why the child loses its joy, interest in the school, especially in the summer warm. Instead of enjoying the sweet company of nature, it has to go to school where it has to sit and it has to learn forcefully by the teacher. Okay, that's why it says under a cruel eye. Under a cruel eye, outworn. See that? Who is this cruel eye? That is teacher. The cruel eye is teacher. Why it is a cruel eye? If the teacher is going to see any child who is not concentrating in what the teacher said, immediately he is going to stare at them in such a way that he is going to make the child scared. That's why it is a cruel eye. The child doesn't like the teacher because always the teacher tells anything to the child to do that is not going to be interesting at all, and it is going to be forceful, it is going to be something like bothering. It is going to create the sorrow, sadness. That's why the teacher is a cruel eye. Under the supervision of teacher, learning anything is not at all good. Because whatever the teacher says, that only should be learned. Only the teacher tells what should be done. It is not going to be a natural way of learning. He is going to give some assignments like writing. Maybe it is to learn the letters. In the school, the teacher may tell the students to write and practice only the letters. These are all not going to give any sort of entertainment for the child. It is, as I said, it is like monotonous. All these letters are not going to give any sort of experience. Of course, they are the symbols for sounds. They are the graphical representations for sounds which are going to be pronounced, uttered, created, generated through our vocal cords in the natural language. But they are not going to make the child experience it. It has to speak for himself. It has to practice writing those letters which are the symbols for some sounds. That is totally unnatural. That's why the child is going to feel tired of practicing the letters. Only it has to read the letter and then it has to write the letter. It is going to exhaust the child. Exhaust the child. The child will be exhausted. Okay. The little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. The little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Little ones means the children. Children. The students who are in the school. School children. Okay. They have to spend the day. In the daytime, they go to school, they sit in the school from morning till evening, and they have to practice whatever the teacher is going to tell them, that is going to make them tired. They cannot say no, they cannot refuse the teacher. They have to accept it, they have to follow the teacher. Whatever the teacher says, that should be done. If they say no, immediate consequences, punishment for the children. Punishment for the children. That's why the children don't speak against the teacher. They don't say no to the teacher. Whether it is interesting or not, whether it is going to please them or not, whether it is going to make them happy or not, but still they will be just practicing. That is making the child to be always going to be opposite to the natural way of leading their life. They spend the day in sighing and dismay. Dismay means fear. Full day. Usually they go at around 9 o'clock to the school and they leave the school at 4 o'clock. You see the children naturally when they are entering the school, they go very slow because they don't have interest in the school. As soon as the children are left, when the school is going to get closed, at the time of leaving the school to go home, they run towards the home. That is the thing we can understand in what the children will have interest, in what the children will not have interest. Going to school is something like not at all interesting for the children. That's why at the time of entering inside the school, they go very slow, without interest. Laborious task it is for them. But to leave the school environment, to go home, it is something like very joyful for the children. They run, they show their happiness, they show their enthusiasm in leaving the school. But to entering the school, they will not show the same kind of joyfulness or enthusiasm. Because they have to spend the day in the school in sighing and dismay. Because there will be lots of fear. Because there is a teacher. The teacher is always going to impose something. If the children do not follow him, do not agree to him, do not oblige him, immediately they have to face the punishment. Either morally or physically. That is going to be something assaulting, harassing, harming. Okay, it is going to discourage the children. That's why they spend the day in sighing and dismay. Sighing means every breath they are going to take deeply and they are going to relieve it. And they have to spend with full of fear. Okay, they have to spend the day with full of fear. They are scared about the school environment and the teacher. This is what will happen to the child in the school as soon as the child is asked to go to school. It has already experienced about the school environment, what will be there. In the formal education system, we know that the children will carry only a thing to write, only certain things to write and read. Maybe it is a book and pen or pencil. With these two things only they have to play for the whole day. when the same child is allowed outside of the school, it loves to enjoy its life because it wants to play with twigs, pebbles, and there will be lots of small things around in the environment outside in the ground, and it will pick up each and everything and it will enjoy. You take the child to the water, suddenly it jumps inside and it will enjoy it. It doesn't know whether it is going to drown or not, whether it is deep or not, but still it feels like jumping inside the water and to play with it. When you take the child to the ground, it loves to play with each and everything there. When you leave the child to play in the ground, it tries to dig the earth with the things which are there for digging. Maybe it is a small stake. With the help of it, it can try to dig the earth. If there is a small plant, it tries to pluck the leaves or flowers, anything. It wants to see what is that, what are all those things. It wants to experience each and everything. When you take the child to the tree, it likes to climb the tree. Whether it is going to fall by slip of its legs or not, it doesn't know, but still it wants to climb. It wants to see how it can climb the tree. When you take a child to the park where there are so many playing equipments, it wants to experience it. When you take the child to some animals, it wants to see those animals by touching. If it is a dog also, it doesn't know whether it is going to bark, bite or not, but still it wants to touch that animal. Only after it is experiencing that it is going to bark or bite, it will stay away. You have a small cat in your house, a pet is there in your house, you see the child how it is going to play with it. But the word cat, if the child has to write in the classroom just because it is told by the teacher, it feels something laborious, something monotonous, tired, exhausted. It doesn't want. To write the word cat, it is not interested. To play with the same cat, for the child it is going to be something very nice, because it is going to give happiness, enjoyment, entertainment for the child. So this is all about how the child is going to experience in the formal system of learning, formal educational system. Okay, and in further continuation to it, what the poet speaks for the child in this poem, that we are going to understand. Oh, then at times I drooping sit and spend many an anxious hour, nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. He says, oh, then at times, I drooping sit. Drooping means it is nothing but sitting idle, dull. It is going to sit dull. It is not going to be active at all in the school. If the child goes to the school, what is going to happen? The first thing is it is going to sit dull. It doesn't open the book. It doesn't take the pen unless the teacher is forcing it. Only after the teacher tells the child to remove or open the book and pen, to take the pen, if the teacher is not telling it, it is not going to do at all, because it is going to be disinteresting for the child. It is not interesting for the child. When it is inside the school, inside the classroom, how it sits? It sits dull. Because how long a child can play with only a pen and paper? How many times the same word, same letter, same sounds it is going to write each and every day? Yesterday also it wrote the same thing. Today also it is asked to write the same thing. Tomorrow also it will be the same thing. It is not going to experience anything new unless each and every moment, if the child is not experiencing anything new, it is going to kill the creativity of the child. The learning faculty will be destroyed. It is not going to be active at all. That's why it will sit dull. Then at times, so many times, it is going to sit dull. It keeps quiet. If it is going to play in the school, what is going to happen? That teacher is going to punish it. The teacher is going to impose dismay. The teacher is going to make him scared. Because the teacher doesn't like any sort of playfulness, disturbance. The playfulness of the child, the children, will be something like disturbance for the teacher. He doesn't like that because he has come from the same environment. He is groomed to be like that. He is groomed to be silent. He should not be allowing any children to be playful in the school. That is what he is groomed. That is what he wants others to be. Even the children should be like that. Okay? And spend many an anxious and spend many and anxious. Okay. From morning 9 o'clock till 4 o'clock, sometimes the children have to be there in the school. At that time, each and every hour is something like anxious. They are going to create anxiety. When the school is getting over, when the mom is going to come to take the child home, that is what all the time, the children will be thinking. The child will be always thinking about the hours that it has spent in the school. 10 o'clock, okay, only 1 hour is over. 11 o'clock, 2 hours. Each and every hour it is going to spend, that will be like the days or months or years. It is not going to pass. It is not going to move at all. Only when it goes out, it can enjoy its life, but not in the school. When it is not giving any sort of entertainment to the child in the school, each and every hour will be spent anxiously, with full of sadness, sorrow, with full of worries, tiredness. It has to spend because the life in the school is monotonous. It is not going to be enjoyable. It is not going to give any sort of entertainment. Nor in my book can I take delight. Nor in my book can I take delight. Nor in my book can I take delight. Delight means happiness. Delight means happiness. The child is unable to get the happiness from the book. which it has carried to the school. What is there in the book? Some letters are there, some words are there. If the child is reading the letters or words, it sounds dry, because it is not going to feel about it. It is not going to experience about it. If the child has not seen the cat at all in its life, if the child is asked to read or pronounce the word cat, how it can experience, how it can imagine? It is not going to allow its internal faculties to grow. If the child is asked to learn about a tree, the word tree, without seeing a tree, how it can enjoy? Plants, shrubs, bushes, creepers, vines, trees. These are all the kinds of words will be used for different kinds of plants. They are all different in shape, size and features. When the child is told about all these words, when the child is not shown the real objects in the nature, how it can enjoy, how it can experience, how it can feel about it, how it can imagine about it. That's why the child cannot take delight in the books. It cannot enjoy it. It cannot get happiness. That is what all about the things in the formal education system. Everything is theoretical. Only words the children will be learning, but they don't experience it. Only if the child has seen same object which is going to be there in the book, then it can imagine. Then it can think about it. Then it can express something about it. If it has not seen at all, how it can? If the child has not seen about sea, if the child has not seen the sea, how can you make the child understand about the sea? If you tell something about sugar, the word sugar, what is the spelling? Only that much it can learn. What is the pronunciation? How to utter, how to pronounce this word? Only that much it can learn. It has not seen the object sugar. It has not seen the color of sugar, shape of sugar, and taste of sugar. All these things are not known to the child. Then in that case, how can the child enjoy the word sugar? That is what it makes. Nor in my book can I take delight. It is not going to give happiness for the child. In the same way, if you tell about river, if you tell about stream, if you tell about sea, if you tell about ocean, different oceans, if you are explaining to the child without making the child to experience it, only through books, if you are explaining, if you are describing, if you are narrating about the objects, the child cannot learn and take delight from that. That will be tedious. That will be monotonous. That will be dry. Anything you tell the child, that must be experienced with it. It must be given full freedom to play with it, to see it, to enjoy it, to taste it. We have so many sense organs: tongue, eyes, ears, nose, skin. These are all the sensitive organs, sense organs. Each and every sense organ is for some specific purpose. The child should learn through all these sense organs. Any object it could be. If you speak about the stone, if you speak about the soil, if you speak about the rock, it should know the difference. What is the difference between soil, stone, rock, pebble, all these things. Okay. Only then it gives delight. Otherwise, the child cannot enjoy it. That's why in book, whatever is there, that is not going to give any sort of experience. The child obviously cannot take delight from that. It is going to sit dull. Why it is going to sit dull? Because of all these things. And why it is going to spend every hour anxiously? Because of there is no delight. Nor sit in learning's over. Nor sit in learning's board. What do you mean by that? Learning's board means school, closed environment. Maybe it is a classroom. It is not going to sit in the classroom. It means physically it is going to be made to sit. Forcefully it is made to sit in the classroom. But its mind is very important. Where there is mind, there its heart. Or where there is its heart, there its mind is. Okay. If the child is not concentrating, if the child is not mentally present in the school, then it is not going to learn anything. Physically, the children will be sitting in the classroom, but mentally it will be absent from the classroom. Mentally, it will be absent. Physical presence is not enough. Mental presence is very much essential for a child to learn from the book. When you don't have opportunity for the child to experience anything which is there in the book, then obviously the child cannot sit in the learning's board. And worn through with a dreary shower. Worn through with the dreary shower. Okay. Shower means things which are going to be falling on our head. Okay. Maybe it is water in the form of droplets. If they are falling on our head, that is also a shower. If the sounds are falling on our head, that is also something like shower. They are all dry. What is that? The teacher is teaching and the teacher is making lots of noise and sounds. They are all falling on the head of the child. They are not going to be pleasing. They are not going to be entertaining. They are not going to give happiness. Instead of that, they are making the child exhausted, tired. By listening so many times about the words, by listening to the same words again and again, the child is getting exhausted. It is feeling tired. It feels like running away from the school classroom. That is what it happens in the classroom, in the formal education system. That is what the child is expressing in this poem. Now, again, rationally, the poet is speaking on behalf of the child, as if the child itself is speaking, as if the schoolboy itself is speaking for all of us. Okay, we have to realize, we have to understand, we have forgotten that, we are ignoring that, we are not giving any sort of importance what is the impact of formal education system, how the children are made dull, idiots, fool. fools. That we have to learn. Okay. After learning this poem, after understanding this poem, we should realize that we have to change the way of teaching for the children, because the children are not going to learn anything from the formal education system. They are going to be like fools, because they won't really know the things in practical life, in real life. That's why he says that. He says in the next stanzas about what we have to do, what is our mistake, why are we doing such mistakes, that we have to realize. Okay. Jai Shri Gurudev. Yesterday we discussed about half of the poem, the schoolboy. So in that we understood that what did the child like in the early morning of summer season. It enjoyed the sweet company of the birds singing, huntsman's horn, and the skylar's songs. Okay, it was a sweet company for the schoolboy in the early morning when it is about to get up from the bed. Okay, and all of a sudden, when the child was asked to go to school, it felt somewhat sorrow, very sad. It felt because all the joy which enjoyed that is vanished, that is gone from the mind of the schoolboy. Okay. Why? Because in the school it has to spend the day under the supervision of a teacher. Okay. So it will be exhausting to spend the day in the school. It is going to feel like exhausted, tired, and dull, without enthusiasm, without interest. It has to spend the day. Okay, always every hour in the school, the children spend the day in sighing and dismay. It means it is feeling like getting relieved each and every moment as it is taking the breath and relieving from the tension. Okay, and also it feels like somewhat afraid of attending the school every day under the supervision of a teacher. It also feels like dull. It doesn't have interest in the books. Always it feels anxious to spend each and every hour. It feels like when the school is getting over, to go away from the environment of the school, and it doesn't find any enjoyment in learning. It sits in the school physically, but mentally it will be absent, because there is no interest in whatever the things go on in the school, in the classroom. It is because of dry. Okay, whatever the teacher teaches, they all fall like, the sounds fall like showers, without any sort of happiness, joy, which is not going to be pleasing. It is not going to be sweet at all for the child to learn from the teacher. It looks like dry shower. Okay, so these are the things it felt, and further what the child feels, that we are going to understand. How can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? Okay, in this stanza, the poet is speaking as if the schoolboy is speaking. What is in the mind of the schoolboy, that is spoken by the poet through the schoolboy. Okay, how can the bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? See, how can the bird that is born for joy, sit in a cage, and sing. Sit in a cage and sing. The schoolboy is compared to bird. Okay, the bird is nothing but the schoolboy. It is born for joy. Okay, take for example a sweet bird, cuckoo, that sings. Its voice is melodious. When you hear that is singing, you will feel like you are enjoying the music. That kind of sweet voice it has got. The melody comes from that bird. When that bird is put in the cage, it cannot enjoy it. It cannot sing because it is going to lose its freedom. In the nature, it will be free. It will go each and every place. It will eat whatever it likes, and it feels happiness. In that happiness, it is going to sing. For the other bird, that will be melodious for all the others who are going to listen, hear. Okay. When such a bird is brought and put it in the cage, it loses its enthusiasm. It loses its freedom. It loses its happiness. It loses its enjoyment. It has to forget everything and it has to sit idle without having interest in anything. It cannot sing. It cannot sing at all when it is put in the cage. In the same way, when the schoolboy is taken to the school where it has been kept, that it cannot enjoy it, that it cannot give something which is going to give happiness for others also. When you see the child which is sitting idle, it is not having happiness, enthusiasm, interest in anything. It is passive. It is looking dull. It is not having diligence in doing anything. It is not playing at all. Then anybody is not going to enjoy it. Anybody is not going to be happy to see that child is sitting dull because it is kept in the cage. The school is like a cage. It is like a prison. It is like a prison for the child. Just the way it is a prison for the bird. The cage is a prison for the bird. It is born for enjoying its life. The bird is born for enjoying its life. Same way, the schoolboy is also born for enjoying its life in the early stages of its life. But now, at that stage, when it has to be left free to enjoy it, we have taken that to school and it is kept, it is forced to do certain things what others want. It is not going to sing at all. It is not going to make the world very happy. That way it is going to be spoiled. Okay. How can a child when fierce annoy but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? How can a child when fierce annoy but droop his tender wing. Tender wing. And forget his youthful spring. Here, when a child is taken to the school, when it is kept there, it cannot show anything extraordinary to the world. It cannot be creative at all. It cannot be playful at all. It cannot make anyone joyful. When you see the child sitting dull, others also feel somewhat sorry for that. Sorrow is highlighted. They feel sad about it. Because the fears annoy. Annoy means disturb. Okay. Fear. In the school, what the teachers who are there to look after the child will do, they impose certain restrictions. They always tell to do only certain things. Not each and everything that child likes. It will not be allowed to play inside the classroom. It will not be allowed to move here and there and talk to others, fight with others, play with others, to be enthusiastic, to be active. It will not be like. When it is trying to do that, what the teachers or others who are there do it, they will make it afraid. They will make it scared. Okay. That time, it will be afraid of it. It is not going to exhibit any of its talents to the world. That way it is going to sit. It will do how the bird is kept in the prison, in the cage, is going to do. It is going to fold its wings. It is not going to open its wings. It will be closing its wings always, and it will be sitting idle. Okay, it is going to get the food. That is not enough. After getting the food, it has to be free to play with anything around in the nature. It will fold its tender wings and it has to be kept. Here, tender wings in the sense, its faculties, its imagination, its spirit, that is going to be controlled. That is going to be avoided. It is going to be stopped from being showing to the world in the way of playing, in the way of exhibiting its activities. And it has to forget its youthful spirit. The child has to forget its energy, its age, its innocence, its activeness. It has to forget. It has to sit dull. Here the spring season is nothing but the childhood life. It is nothing but childhood life. It has to forget it. Then ultimately what is going to happen? The child is going to become dull. It is not going to learn anything. Its faculties, its creativity, its innovativeness, its learning, everything will be stopped or destroyed. That is going to happen in the formal education system. This is the problem. This is the feature of the formal education system. This is the outcome of the formal education system. We should stop it. We should move away to the natural way of learning and upbringing the child. Okay. In the next stanza, the child is going to speak to the father and mother. The nearest people for the child, one who are going to listen to the child are the parents. They are the father and mother. Only those people can give some sort of affection, some sort of concern, some sort of advice, some sort of solution for the problems which are being faced by the child in the school. They can do something. They can change its life. They can provide opportunities for the child for its nature to grow in the surrounding environment that is supposed to be. Okay, that's why the child is going to approach the parent to express its anguishness, anxiety, the problem, to find the solutions for that. In the way of seeking the answers, in the way of seeking the solutions, in the way of getting the freedom for its life, it is going to approach the parents and it is going to express its opinions about the things which are happening to the child. Oh father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay. See that? How the child is going to tell the complaints about the school, about the problems which is being faced by the child. What will be the consequences in its future that has to be faced by the child. Okay. Oh father and mother. Oh father and mother, if birds are nipped, if birds are nipped and blossoms blown away, okay, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay. Okay, what is the feeling it has expressed about the consequences which are going to happen for the child? Oh father and mother, it has approached the parents. If buds are nipped means destroyed, smashed, crushed. Buds means it is the tender portion. Before the flowering takes place, the flower will be in the bud. It will be in between the leaf and the stem. Okay, if you take the stem plant, it will be there in between the leaf and the stem. Here there will be bud. Or sometimes at the tip of every tree there will be a bud. Okay, in this bud, there will be the flower. It has not yet come out. It has not yet blossomed. It is there inside the bud. If this bud is destroyed, then what we can expect? We cannot expect the blossoms. We cannot get the flowers. If the bud itself is crushed, destroyed by anything, we cannot expect the flowers. If the flowers are not there, if the flowers do not come out, if we don't get the flowers, definitely we cannot get the seeds. If the seeds are not going to be produced, then we cannot get the next generation. That is what the problems. It means the early stage of the school boy, in the tender age itself it is destroyed. We cannot get whatever it has to give in the future. After certain age, that is what the problem. In the next line it is saying that if blossoms are blown away, if blossoms means flowers. Okay, if the flowers are blown away, if you remove it, if you pluck it, if you throw it, if you make it fall before it is going to give its seeds, what is going to happen? We don't get the seeds. If we don't get the seeds, what is going to happen? We don't get the next generation. The generation will stop. Okay, that is the problem. It means if the school boy at the early stage, if a stage of its growth is cut, destroyed, smashed, disturbed, thrown away, then we don't get whatever it has to give when it attains the youth. Okay, if the tender plants are stripped, it means if the tender means the early stage of a plant, it is in the beginning stage, it is in the early stage. If the plant is again stripped, destroyed, smashed, killed, then we cannot get whatever we are going to get when it attains the older age. Suppose you take a mango tree. In the early stage itself, if you destroy it, you don't get the mangoes. It doesn't become a tree. It doesn't give the fruits, mangoes for all of us to enjoy in the summer season. The same thing will happen here. Of their joy, all these things are the buds, blossoms, tender plants, all of them are the images, metaphors to express the joy of the schoolboy, its age. Okay, then we don't find happiness, joy in the later stage of the child. In the springing day, of their joy in the springing day, when it is in the childhood stage, if you kill everything of the faculties of the child, then you don't get anything. What the parents do, they always impose sorrow and cares dismay. Dismay is nothing but fear. Okay, how the child is going to be afraid of everything when the parents make it scared. When the surrounding environment is going to make it scared. How they do it? When the child is playing, they always advise not to be too much active, not to be over joyous, not to be too much playful. In that way they will restrict the child. If it is going to the bush, they will tell that there is a snake. Then it is scared. If it is trying to climb the tree, the child is advised that it is going to fall and break the legs or any part of its body. And if it is trying to jump into the pond or water, it will be advised that it is going to drown and die. That way it is going to be made scared. And if it is jumping from the top to the bottom, from some platform to the bottom place, what the parents used to say, they say that no, don't do it. You are going to break your leg. That way they are going to impose the fear in the child's mind. Sometimes they say that if the child is roaming here and there, running here and there, walking here and there, they say that you are going to be pricked by the thorns in the bush or on the ground. You are going to get injured. You are going to get hurt by various things in and around where the child will be playing. That way, they are going to show the care. At the same time, they are going to affect the child by imposing some sort of fear in it. They will also make the child's sorrow by imposing some punishment when the child is not in a position to get controlled by the parents. By inflicting, by imposing sorrow, they make the child lose all its interest in everything. In the school, this is what the thing will happen. That will be expressed by the child to the parents. Oh, father and mother, if buds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and cares dismayed, what are you going to get? You don't get anything in future. If you make me dull, if you make me sorrow, if you make me afraid of each and everything, then in the later stage, I won't do anything. I can't do anything. I don't learn anything. That is what the schoolboy is expressing to its parents. This is what said in the fifth stanza of the poem. Let us see at last how it is going to conclude to the parents what is the effect of the formal education system. Okay. How shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer's fruits appear, or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing year when the blasts of winter appear? Okay. By asking so many questions to the parents and the teachers or to the authority, it is going to tell them what they are doing. It is all wrong. Okay. How shall the summer arise in joy? How shall the summer arise in joy? See that? Sorry, the question mark before we are going to put the question mark. There are so many other questions. Let us solve first question which is asked by the child to the parents and to the authorities. How shall the summer arise in joy? When you kill the child in the early stage itself, in the budding stage, in the blossoming stage, in the tender plant stage, how shall the summer arise in joy? Summer means it is youth, young age, okay, adult age. It is the adulthood. How can we find the adulthood is going to become productive, constructive, useful? When you don't leave the buds to grow, when you don't leave the blossoms to be there for some time to get the seeds, how when you don't give the tender plants to grow, when you don't give the tender age, that is the childhood life, to grow naturally, how can you expect anything productive from the adulthood life? That is what the question it is asked by the child, the schoolboy. Or the summer fruits appear. Summer fruits appear. Okay, appear. Take for example a mango tree. In the tender age, if it is not left to grow naturally, when it attains the later stage, older stage, when it becomes the tree, we cannot get the fruits in the summer season. In the older stage, naturally, it is true. Only in the summer season we get lots of fruits, different kinds of fruits in the summer season. In the adulthood stage, similarly, we are going to get something productive, constructive, useful, that will be fruitful. That age will be fruitful only when the childhood life is left to grow naturally. When you make it, when you confine it, when you restrict it, when you control it in different ways to grow how the people want, the authority wants, it is not going to be much useful. In the broader sense, it will not be more useful for anybody in the society. That is what the schoolboy is going to tell us. The summer season will not be useful. It will not be fruitful. The adulthood life will not be useful at all. Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy? How shall we gather what griefs destroy? By imposing sorrow. Grief means sorrow, sadness. Okay, by always imposing sorrow on the child in the childhood life, you have destroyed so many things. It is not led to grow. It is not grow. It is not led to develop. The growth and development of the child and its faculties and its brain, its mind, its imagination, its creativity, everything is destroyed by imposing grief. Now, in the adulthood life, we cannot get it back. We cannot get back. Whatever is lost, everything is lost. Now, once you have destroyed everything, you cannot get it back. You cannot get it back. That is what the question the schoolboy is asking to the parents as well as the authority in the school. How shall we gather what griefs destroy? If you have destroyed everything, how can we get it back? It is gone. Take for example a piece of glass, a mirror. It is broken. We cannot join together once again to make it once again the same old mirror. It is broken. You have to throw away. You have to build the same mirror from minute particles once again. That is not going to be possible. That is not going to be for the schoolboy. It doesn't happen. Okay. Or bless the mellowing ear. Or bless the mellowing ear. Mellowing ear. When the blasts of winter appear. When the blasts of Winter, earlier. Winter means it is the old age. Old age. Old age is nothing but it is a ripened age. Okay, ripened age, matured age. You can also say it is a matured age. When the child reaches the ripened age, matured age, there will not be anything at all. Okay, only age is there, but it cannot do anything to its capacity, to its potential. What is supposed to be done at the ripened age, matured age, that is not possible. It is not experienced. It has not known anything because everything is avoided for the child to get exposed to different kinds of environment in its life. That is what the problem. When the blasts of winter appear, when the child reaches the old age, suddenly problems come. It cannot find any solution. It cannot say anything on it. It cannot remember its past because it has not come to its mind, its life in the form of a chance to experience it, to solve it. If you have faced some problems in your life in the early age itself, when you are potential, when you are capable, when you are able to face, when you have lots of energy in your body, then once if somebody is facing a problem, you can suggest, you can give a solution. Or even at the old age when you don't have full of energy, at the time that if the same problem comes, you can accept it, you can face it intelligently by using your experience because you have learnt it already. Okay? That is not going to happen if you destroy the tender age. That is what the schoolboy is expressing about the formal education system. Formal education system is totally against the natural system, natural way of learning. In nature, one can learn tremendous things because there is full of freedom. Anybody can do any number of mistakes. If you want to learn, you should make mistakes, you should learn. That is not possible in the formal education. Only what is prescribed, that will be learned. Out of that you are not going to learn. There will not be opportunity, there will not be encouragement for learning beyond the prescribed thing by the authority. That is what the poet is saying here against the formal education system. Okay?